All right. This is my second attempt because I cussed within the first 30 seconds, to be honest with you. I caught myself one time, but then messed up the second. Anyways, I'm back from vacation. What time is it now? It's almost 9. It's almost 9 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, and we were supposed to fly back at like 6 p.m. or something. I've been sick for like most of last week. Been on vacation in Maui, sick as hell. Still driving, all that other stuff. You know what the hell else am I gonna do? Just, you know, I'm not puking all over the place. I'm not having forceful ejections from any particular end. So, you know, really tired, really drained. Still doing the hikes that I could. I did run into altitude sickness, and I normally don't have that problem, but I didn't have it until we got over 9,000 feet. I did one of the hikes at 8,000. That was fine, but I think it was, what, 8,800 feet? That one was fine. Anyways, sick as hell. Much better. And I'm not going to get to bed anytime soon, so... Well, I don't think I am. I still got my beer I'm working on over here. Because why not? I'm not driving them, and I'm actually on the mend. So, wand 7. This will be video 2. I do remember this, pulling those pieces out. That kind of sucked. That kind of sucked bad. You know, to be honest with you, I almost want to take some tape and like tape it over the end to kind of keep it like strung like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to, because if it goes to shit, then it just goes to shit. We still have these markings here, and you know, to be quite frank, I'm glad I made these marks and didn't take them off, because I have all these things that I can work on right now, which is why I chose this one instead of working on this one. That's going to cramp my hands, and I've been gripping a steering wheel sometimes for 12 plus hours a day lately to see what we wanted to see safely. So I'm not really interested in more hand cramping, so this is good. I'm glad I have these markings here to talk to me about that. Looking at this again afresh, I remember that I had this vague impression of this one to be a snake, which would have been really freaking cool. I stopped cussing right there. I was about to do it, you know, and that didn't work out. So now I'm reevaluating some of these red marks, because it has been like a week, and I've done a lot of thinking since then. I've also done a lot of, you know, not as much puking, but you know, some other. We're not going to puke, but we're going to go ahead and try to muscle that out until it kind of goes away, and that was successful mostly. So, not that I'm asking this thing to do it, but good God, looking back at this now, right now, could I say this, you know, afterwards? So, okay, so my wand box is about my wand box, not my wand, is about 16 inches, right? And so that's kind of how I think, but usually I just go, you know, forearm to the tip of my forefinger here, my middle finger, and that is almost exactly 16 inches, which means it's a little bit too long. So I do have some straight line, because there's about they're 16 by 4 by 4, so I do have some play in here. If I want to take this down to 15 here, you can kind of take a look at this, if I could get it to work. We do have some playroom there, but this might be a short wand. And sometimes that's how it goes, right? Like my Banyan wand that I've shown here in the past is absolutely not 16 inches. Let me go and grab it. Absolutely not 16 inches, right? I really like this wand. It means a lot to me. Right, 14 inches. So, does it have to be that? Could it be shorter? Yeah, it could be shorter. It actually could be shorter. Because really, what I'm looking for personally is, you can look at this and the handle doesn't work right. It doesn't fit in the hand quite like what you want. But, well, you haven't gripped it, right? You haven't gripped it. It's one of the most solid pieces of Banyan wood I've ever collected. And this is a piece of deadfall. I didn't cut this off the tree. That would be inappropriate. You can see some of the modeling here from the degradation, the decay of the wood, and you see one of the nodes here that you would see in some of these other pieces. I mean, it's not perfect, but I really, really like that wand. I had another wand that broke in ritual, and this was it. Much larger than 16 inches. Very thin. You see it had a lot of work done on it. This is a very specific wand for a very specific purpose. These are all of the symbols and words for the Shadownomicon. All right, so with a little delay there. 6 minutes. Okay, cool. So we can cut the shorter. I mean, we can still get a usable wand here. I am kind of, it is kind of growing on me if I do this, but I have a concern here. Right now, that can be remedied if somebody puts a crystal in here and then binds this with like just a simple piece of leather or imitation sinew. You know, you can get those in reels. I looked into making lamellar armor before. Lamellar is like a scales, like on a snake, or overlapping scales, basically to make armor. There are a lot of cultures that had it, and I'm very interested in it. I still am. So I have some fake sinew for that, and so somebody could actually literally just do that. I would probably recommend that over like a metal ring binding, because you could easily take that off, redo it, put it back on. You want to put a different crystal in, it's much easier to do with just some sinew. You could use like a cuticle cutter and slip it under one of those sides, and it'll just peel right off. But it's strong on its own. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic. But I am concerned about that. It is remediable to make a very usable wand. So, man, I am tempted to do that, but I don't think I'm going to yet. So what happens if that breaks off, or this breaks, and what happens to the rest of the wand? Well, I grip the wand here because it gets a kind of like the 1/3, 2/3 principle, right? That's kind of how I look at this. But it could be gripped back here, and there's still all sorts of room here. You know, you're like when I judge a wand, I use my middle finger here, because I'm assuming that's the end of the wand. That doesn't have to be the end of the wand, right? You can put a crystal on there. I don't care what crystal you put on there. It's gonna be yours, because I don't use them a whole lot. I do have some I care for, but that's about it. So I wouldn't really be quite as uptight about that, right? But I am concerned. I do still have these other things, so let's just go ahead and do a quick review. I'm sorry if you watched the other one just the other day, but I haven't looked at this in like, a week. Okay, so if I'm doing this is going to have a natural degradation down here. I need to take in some of this right here. I don't have red lines there for that. That's fine. These lines were for the snake portion here. Do those still apply? Unsure. All right, and here's why. If I take this in, right, and this end right here, can you see that? I just want to make sure. I'm sorry. It'll make it look like it's flares if I don't also reduce that end. So I could look at it like this and that will cause the end to flare. But if it causes an end to flare and there's a crystal at the point, that's not that big of a deal. But it is going to kind of be of a bit of a mental issue if I just look at this and say, okay, thin, 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 thin. All of a sudden, this is like, let's flare out, right? Now, that would actually look appropriate if somebody were like put a crystal on there. You could use like, you know, sinew down here to like strengthen. And then, I mean, there's nothing to say you couldn't take like just like a little piece of copper actually, and then coat it here. Now, what you could do with that though, you know what, that's metalworking stuff. Let's, all right, whatever. What you could do with that though is you could actually just use bands, right? And if you did it that way, then you just have like a band here, a band here, a band here, and you could actually fit the crystals in and out as you desire. And if you were to use like just some little catch at the top, like a little pinch ring or something, kind of like a split ring, like you may not know, but like a split rings that are used to apply a tension, but only so much. You could do that on the top and then pinch it into whatever size crystal you're using. I mean, you're gonna have a limit, of course, but you'd have this copper. If you did the copper bands and then you had the other thing coming out, you could put a little flange on the back part of this here that would taper it down, and you would have this crystal sticking out. I realize that's not a carving issue for me, but it is something you have to consider, because I'm not going to be able to do the snake motif. Do I need these humps anymore? And that answer is probably no. I have all these red marks, but they don't necessarily apply anymore, right? So, oh, balls. 12 minutes in. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these bulges over here actually to kind of smooth this wand out, because I think in the end the only thing this wand is going to present with regards to this direction is this crystal. Okay. And I kind of have to go all in on that because I don't have huge mounds here. They aren't enough to have personality, right? So we're going to make some marks here. There, let's just be mark these two ends, then we can just go like this. You know, if they get down. I would have kept this. This is a knot. It's going to make things work a little bit harder. That's fine. It was going to be a feature before, but now it's kind of not. And that's just kind of how it goes. So let's just go ahead and get rid of some of this. There we go. There we go. I'm saying it like I've spent so long on this wand, you know. Oh, I've worked so hard on other things today outside of dodging other tourists. So I will say this though, I've lived in Hawaii. The first time I lived in Hawaii, I lived here for 3 years. It was during the COVID time, and so I got to kind of see the before, the during, and the after, right? But only to an extent, because they had to go back, right? And some of those effects are actually still being felt on the island. Islands, I should say, because we did go to Lanai. We didn't just go to Maui. We also went to Lanai, the cat sanctuary. 100%, please enjoy the pictures from the Lanai cat sanctuary. Amazing place. Really appreciate it. We spent $400 or $500, I think, to go revisit that place, because it was the only place, literally the only place on the Hawaii Islands that we've been to. And at that point we had been to Kauai. We lived on Oahu. We still do. We do now. Excuse me. I should say we do again. And I think we've been to the Big Island then, and we've been to Molokai. And the only place on the islands last time we were here that my son actually liked was the Lanai Cat Sanctuary. And we did meet the founder of the cat sanctuary. We met her actually at her husband's art gallery on Lanai. And Lanai is not a large place, so So it was really nice to go and meet them. We got to go back to Lanai Cat Sanctuary, and so much work has been done. We donate to them yearly, a little, a lot. Everything helps. The opinions of cats here in Hawaii is getting better, but it still has a long way to go. All right. All right, let's stop and take a look here. All right, so we were working on this, and so we do have a little bit of work to go here to level that out we talked about. You could see how it kind of goes up right here. I'm going to leave that alone for now, and the reason for that is that I want to get this kind of straight, because if I have to make this bulbous, I want some leeway, and I'm going to accentuate it. I want to make that a feature if I have to do that. Now, it's going to be really hard to do here because it's not terribly wand balls. It's not terribly large. So it's not like, assuming I have the skills, and I would try to fake it if I did. I don't have a lot to work with here, right? I can't just say, oh, this end is this big. Maybe I can try to carve it into something that vaguely resembles an opening bud, and that's not going to work here. So eventually I'll have to take this down some, but I want to kind of delay that. I don't know if it's really going to help me here, which is my big concern. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is, right? And so if I've taken that down a bit, then what I want to do is, this. This is not going to be a straight wand. I don't want it to be a straight wand, right? There are wands that are really good that are straight. Those are really good for like using like a scutale, right? If you don't know what a scutale is, it was a piece of leather they would wrap around a stick. They would write their message on it, and then take the leather off, and it would, if you don't have the right size of stick, things may not make sense to you. Scutale, it was an early encryption method. So what that means to me is a uniform, straight, standard thing here. That's not going to happen here, but I need to reduce the visual appeal here, because if I don't, right, I want this to look like, oh, this is here, this is supporting this. The rest of this wand is going to support whatever is held here. This, I keep saying crystal, but it doesn't have to be. This could be something else too. Here, let me grab a couple of things here, and I could show you what it could be. All right, sorry about the abrupt downward pause there, but here we go. You could do other things in here, and this is exactly why I have this. This is a crab claw, obviously, right? But if you look at it, this is something I could put into here, or similar, if I wanted to make a wand like that. I mean, just look at that for a second, right? Especially, think about if this was what you were looking at in person. I mean, you could file this down, taper this in. I could even glue some of this back here because it's only a single layer here, where this is you know, more solid right here. Think about that for a second. You see what I'm saying? If I want an aggressive, this is also for defense. It doesn't have to be offense. It can also be for defense. An aggressive, offensive, defensive, very actionable wand, not core, because when you think about wand cores within Harry Potter, they're back here and sending it forward. But coming out this other end, this will mess you up. So very direct, very pointed, very freaking cool, which is why I have it, right? I shed some blood for that. Something else you could do is something like this, actually, right? You could put a piece of shell in it, and if I wanted to, I could, this came from Molokai, actually. If I wanted to, I could start putting grooves in here to try to make the shape that I wanted, and then split it if I wanted to. I could just split this all the way up and stick this in here, so it would stick out the end like this. And the important part is that what channeling this would mean. And so it doesn't have to be a crystal, right? It could be something like this. These are why I got these things and why I paid for them where I found them, right? So we'll put these back, please. Excuse me. So that magnificent crab claw was actually found here on Oahu, and that shell, part of a cowrie shell, was found on Molokai. So, not Molokai, I'm sorry, Maui, Molokai. They call it the Friendly Isle, but I have absolutely no reason to go back. So anyways, kindly don't go there. It's not worth it. Mostly because of the locals. So let's look at this here, because we're probably about, we're about time here. So I can see I need to shave some of this down. And since I'm going to get kind of confused here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those same chopping things like this, because they are very different and not how I would do things normally, right? You've seen me color. These are chopping. I normally would not get rid of features like this, but I think I need to here, because the majority of this wand is really going to be here at the end of the wand. And so I need to take some of these down, but not necessarily get rid of them entirely. And I think that's how it's going to have to go. It's kind of disappointing for me. I know. The wands shouldn't be about me, I know. But the truth is that I don't usually get to see the end result of these wands, right? I've given away. I finally stopped largely giving them away, but the first time I was here, I gave away like a dozen of them, right? And I never got to see the end result from them. I'm hoping that when people buy them on Etsy, that they'll send me pics. If they would, I would greatly appreciate that. To let me know what they've done with them. And I mean, I can do honestly, the only thing I could really do at that point is give like a certain percentage off of something else. And I have that already for friends, but I don't normally get to see what happens to my wands, because I'm not making a finished product, right? That's part of my spiel, right? It's part of what I do. I don't make an end product. I get it ready for somebody, and then it's theirs to make their own, right? So I think we're going to go ahead and leave that there. We'll see if I do another video. I don't know that I will. I'm starting to get a little tired, so I mean, I haven't slept well in over a week now, so, and I'm old. I'm not young. So we'll see. There we go. A little bit longer than some of the other videos, but I felt it was kind of important, and I hope you got something out of it. So tomorrow we shall wand.